Hey everybody! Today brings an exciting announcement. I've begun production on a set of tutorials that I'm going to share with all of you here. Some of these are going to be focused on you getting into games. Some of these will be focused on creating 3D assets and textures. Today I want to start off with something easier and talk to you about the best way to tackle any project. Alright everybody, let's jump into it. Hey everybody, I'm going to assume that you have a baseline understanding of the usage of Blender for 3D. If you don't worry, I'll also make some tutorial stuff for that later. Right now I'm just setting up a little app called Show Off that's going to let you see whatever button I'm pressing on my keyboard and my mouse, and you'll be able to see my cursor as I interact with it. Now, I like everything run kind of like a cooking show, so I've got a whole bunch of stuff kind of already baked off, already sitting inside of Blender, waiting for if I should need it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our reference image plane. So I'm just dragging an image from my desktop direct into Blender. If you do this without picking one of the orthographic views, it's going to be rotated and it's going to be moved. So up here, I'm just going to zero out all the rotations and all the movement just to show you guys how to get it back to 0. Okay, I'm just hitting R to rotate, and you can snap whichever axes you want to rotate in, the X, the Y, or the Z axes. All right, and I'm just going to get rid of that because I've already set this up and it's already sitting here. So for today, we're actually going to make a wheel for a car. Now, a lot of people in the past have asked me for tutorials on building cars, but people get too caught up in building a whole thing. All right, now what I've just done there is I've enabled filtering, and now I can filter based on selectable, and I can make it so that we can't select our reference image, which is great. We won't accidentally grab that. All right, so today we're going to build a wheel. We're going to create a cylinder. Make sure that it has 20 sides to the cylinder. The reason we want 20 sides is because the wheel that I've selected is a 5-spoke wheel, and this will just make the transition for our topology much simpler if everything is in even increments. Now, like I was saying, I want to bust everything down so that we realize that you don't have to model a whole car all at once. We can model the wheel and a fender and a headlight and keep things smaller and more manageable, more digestible. So here I'm just scaling this out, trying to make sure that it matches just in the outer diameter to our reference image. Now up here, you can see these are different blending modes, and right here we've got X-ray mode, which is fantastic. Allows us to see through our mesh, allows us to work with it while still being able to see our background image. Okay. Right there, I hit Shift D to duplicate our mesh, and I've scaled it down to fit the inner diameter of that wheel center, the hub center. Okay, so inner diameter and outer diameter. I'm not too worried about their overall length or depth here, just the diameters are all that's important. So I've hidden the inner one for right now, and we're just going to take a look here. If you go up in the top left, you can switch between object mode and component mode or edit mode. I'm going to delete that face that's off the back there because we don't need it. I'm going to swap from face mode into vertex mode. And I'm going to turn on snapping. Snapping is amazing. You can snap by increment and snap things to the grid. That's just going to make our lives a lot easier. Okay, so I'm just resizing this to give me a little bit better of an understanding of the shape and the form. Swap back to face selection, and now I'm going to go into our front view. And so now I want to make the steps for the lip of this wheel. Now over at the left-hand side here, we've got all of our different tools. Okay, we're going to use inset faces. Now I know the shortcut for that is the I key for inset. And I'm going to make a few inset steps to represent the profile shape of this wheel. Okay. So now I'm just rotating my viewport around so I can see this better in perspective. And what I'm going to start doing here is I'll use our insert edge loop tool, insert an extra edge loop. I'm going to grab all my faces. If you hold Alt and you click in between faces, it'll grab the entire loop. I'm going to start moving things back. Oh, gotta remember to turn off that snap. So I'll move some things back, then I'll deselect and reselect some more. Move some stuff back. Deselect, reselect. Okay, I'm gonna insert one more loop. There we go, nice tight loop. Oops, back to face mode. And we'll push that back. Okay. And then lastly, I'm going to extrude this face inward. Just hit the E key and push it all the way back to extrude. Okay, now I put a couple of steps in there to allow me to reshape the inside of that drum in a little bit. And I'm going to snap this to meet the same spot on the grid and delete that face. So hit the delete key, then select face. With these selected, I'm going to scale this up a little bit. There we are. Then make sure to change the Y to 1. There we go. And then I just like round numbers, makes it easier. So now we have the basic setup for our hoop. I'm just going to give a little bit of weight and shape to the curvature here. Oh, we've still got snapping turned on. Every once in a while I forget to turn that off. There we go. All right, so we're forming our base shapes at this point. Just going to go out of edit mode and into object mode. I'm going to take a look at the modifiers panel now, add a modifier, and we'll throw a subdivision surface on there. I'm going to right click, smooth, so shade smooth. And I think I'm going to increase my subdivs to 2. There we go. So now we're getting kind of some of that profile. There's a little bit of work left to do here. I'm going to turn off that preview, grab my insert loop tool again. And if I put loops that are very close to one another, when we add our subdivision surface modifier, it'll retain the shape a lot better. So if I come out here now, you can see that that shape is a lot nicer. We've got a really defined and crisp edge where 2 loops are side by side. Do the same thing out towards the outer edge. And there we go. This is starting to look a lot better. So like I was saying before, as with any project, if you break it down into small bite-sized pieces and then break those pieces down to small bite-sized operations, you'll have a much better time with it. So let's introduce a few more edge loops just to hold that shape a little bit nicer. There we go. And so now we've got this really nice base shape that we're going to start editing on. All right, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to wrap this little bit up for today because I want to keep these videos to 10-minute bite-size increments. Tune in next time when we keep on trucking and get through this wheel. Thanks again for tuning in. We didn't get this all built in 10 minutes, but I'll be posting new segments every day until we get it done. Please don't forget to hit that like button. If you're new here, smash the subscribe button and share the heck out of this video. It really helps out. All right, everybody, thanks again. Stay safe and happy modeling.